रोखाना सहर रोखाना सहर
Thank you very much for coming back. I will be starting our session on transforming sanitation. To chair this session on transforming sanitation, may I invite Secretary Public Health Engineering Department to be on the chair, please. And also request other speakers of this session to kindly join the Secretary Saab on the head chairs. Mr. Kitka Goyol, Chief of WASH, UNICEF Pakistan, sir. Dr. Ras and Mr. Imran Ahmed, who is freelance business. Imran, please take the chair. This session is on transforming sanitation, the key topic of today's workshop or conference that we have. And the first talk is on the Sustainable Development Goals. And when we say Sustainable Development Goals, this is SDG Goal 6, which is related to water and sanitation. Mr. Kitka Goyol, Chief of Water, Sanitation and Hygiene, UNICEF Pakistan, to please come to the rostrum and present. Thank you, sir. At the end of the session, so when all the speakers stop, then we can have 10-15 minutes question and answer session. So please note down your questions and we can answer them in collectively at the end. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. The Honorable Secretary, co-speakers on the high table, the WatSan Cell, other colleagues from the sector, I want to say a very good morning to you. It is a privilege for me to be here this morning, or we're now going into the afternoon, to speak on this topic of the Sustainable Development Goals. I think when we started the meeting this morning, I could say all the speakers mentioned the word Sustainable Development Goals in their speeches, which goes to show how important this topic is. And actually, the Sustainable Development Goals are indeed Pakistan's development goals. And this was a commitment that was set by the then Honorable Minister of Climate Change, Honorable Mr. Hamid Zahid, in one of his speeches. It goes to show us that if we want to attain the transformation that we are talking about, then as a sector, as a country, we need to align all of our activities with the global goals and the targets that have been set. Now, how do we move on? What are these Sustainable Development Goals? Basically, they are a progression, they are a move ahead of the Millennium Development Goals, or the MDGs as we know them. These MDG targets that were set, and especially in the context of water and sanitation, they only stated the fact that they wanted to reduce by half the proportion of people without sustainable access to safe drinking water and basic sanitation. What do we see as the difference with the SDGs? The SDGs, we have heard again time and time, is talking about equitable access for equity. It is talking about safely managed water supply, safely managed sanitation and hygiene, including hand washing. Now, we might say, what is new here? And I think the key component, as we have heard again from the key other speakers, is the fact that it is about our behaviors. That is the difference. Hygiene and hand washing. These are the targets that we as a sector will be asked to report against. So whilst, just one slide back, if you look at the target indicators, drinking water source, and the proportion of the population using an improved sanitation facility. For the SDGs, we are looking at those using safely managed drinking water services and safely managed sanitation services, including a hand washing facility with water and soap. Now, when we look at what does it mean for safely managed water, safely managed water supply means the water is accessible, that is, it is located within the premises. The water is available when needed. It means whenever people want to make use of water, they can access it. It is available when needed, 24 hours of the day. And it is safe. That means it is free of fecal contamination or contamination of any priority chemical that is agreed by in the country. For sanitation, it means that the sanitation facility is not shared. And then excreta, the waste matter, is safely disposed of either at site, in situ, or it is safely transported and has a treatment facility. These are the challenges that we have to take. When you look at the universality of the definitions of the SDGs, we are moving ahead of the MDGs, just as we started at the beginning. When we are using surface water, it means we are not using any kind of an improved water. And then there's water safely managed, which is the ardent step on the MD. There's purification, there's the use of an unimproved latrine, there's the use of a basic latrine, and then there's a safely managed service where there is a latrine and the waste that is where there's no facility at all for hand washing, to where there's an unimproved facility and there's the basic facility of having water and soap for hand washing near the latrine facility. Now, when we want to go further and look at what does it mean in terms of the definitions for water supply, if you look at the MDGs, again, we are looking at where there's no service at all. In terms of open defecation, there's an unimproved facility between households. There's a basic sanitation where there's an improved facility which separates the excreta from the human contact and is a private facility. But then the next step, SDG 6.2, is about safely managed sanitation, where the waste matter is safely managed either at site there, or it is transported and treated before it is disposed of in the physical environment. And it is heartwarming to hear the many discussions we are having about the need to have wastewater treatment facilities, because without that, then we are not going to achieve any of the targets set in terms of safely managed sanitation services. The same goes for water supply. Again, we are looking at where there's no service when we use surface water, unimproved contamination. There is the basic water points where it is improved facilities and you can walk 15 minutes to and 15 minutes from that water point. That is 30 minutes in all. It is considered to be basic water source. And then the improved facility, again, as we saw at the beginning, water is available when needed. It is accessible, and by addition, in the province of KP. The Parliament of Pakistan adopted the SDG framework as far back as March 2016. So it is really a thing of appreciation for the government of Pakistan for taking the pioneering steps in making sure that SDGs are taken on board as the development goals of the country. The country, in terms of the government at the federal and at the provincial level, actively participated in the Sanitation and Water for All sector ministers meeting that was held in Ethiopia in March 2016. The country then organized, through the Ministry of Climate Change, a national workshop on SDG baseline as far back as July 2016. And all the relevant government departments conceived and agreed on the idea of having a joint sector review as far back as December 2016. The Pakistan Conference on Sanitation 3 or 4 was held, or 3 actually, was organized and held in March 2016. Oh no, the guidelines that were to be delivered at 2017. The Joint Sector Review Steering Committee, or the Joint Sector, the Joint Sector Review itself for KP was approved by the Steering Committee in July. We are really delighted to note that the Joint Sector Review was held and the government commitment to set SDG target 6 were also agreed in August of 2017. And reaching the universal access will require a lot of investment. Calculations that have been done on a global scale shows that we might need to triple and 3 will be needed if we want to achieve the SDG goals. Just as an example there on the slide, you will see that approximately $35 billion were invested per year to expand access in 2015 for the MPs. Dollars will be required per year globally. And where is that going to come from? The bar chart there shows the different allocations of water supply as well. Sanitation only accounts for 60% of the estimated cost for safely managed. Because as we said, safely managed means that we are able to treat the waste before we dispose of it in the physical environment. What we anticipate now, beyond government resources. So we need to find financial raising opportunities and systems if we are to meet this target. Move forward in this. We are fortunate to have what the Sanitation and Water for All partnership has called collaborative behaviors. So all the partners, all the stakeholders that are doing anything related to water and sanitation, we will need to collaborate with each other. And the key behaviors that we need to put in place to help us achieve this are these 4 collaborative behaviors, as they call them. One is that we have, all of us collectively, we need to enhance government leadership of the wash sector, and especially in all the planning processes. It is the government responsibility to plan for these services, and we as sector players are to enhance their leadership. The point is that we need to strengthen and to use country systems. So we cannot bring systems from elsewhere and try to put them in this country and think they're going to work. Each country is unique. Each province is unique. Let them have their systems. Let them have their strategies. Let them have their master plans and action plans. And we as all stakeholders need to feed into that master plan so that we move things forward together. Third is for us to look at ways of supporting and making sure that these things are sustainable. Now, the word sustainability, I think, is a word that we have used so much to a point that maybe we have lost the meaning of it. But the key thing is we have to make sure that whatever systems we are putting in place, they are going to stand the test of time. That, for me, is the simple definition of sustainability. Is that thing we are putting in today going to be of use today, tomorrow, next year, and the coming 4, 5, 6 years? If we are not able to do that, then all our efforts, all that we are doing now, is going to waste. Fourthly is that we should build strategies. Because as we saw from that example, the funding requirements are going to be beyond what we can do, beyond what we have. So we have to find sustainable financing strategies. We have to look at the private sector. We have to look at our financial. Private sector will be able to provide these services to all that are in need, because water and sanitation services are for all. No one is to be left behind. And with that, I have come to the end of the presentation, and we'll be happy to take on any questions during the question and answer session. Thank you.